because not because no one's worthy. I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say that it takes a lot to impress me enough to say, okay, you got to come to class. You got to come to class. So when I tell you that Asia is worth it, she really is. And actually, you guys know normally I always like to say hi to you when you come in. And I saw Sharon and Elaine and Ivy, Nelly. Sharon, Veronica, LaShonda Cooley, Juanita, AC Salam, I see Darlene, Yolanda, who else? Taquana. Let's see, Nicole Tony. Good morning, James Keller. Good morning, Errol Simengal. And if I did not say your name, I love you too. All right, so let's just hop into this. Let's go ahead and get started. So first off, Asia, give us a little bit of background in terms of your experience in the financial field as well as your interest in money mindset and just how you got to that point of the creation of quantum wealth theory. Tell us just about you and who you are.
Yes. So the best way for me to start to answer that question is to share about how I was raised with my single mom. She had two kids, and the programming that I grew up hearing was that we didn't have enough, we couldn't afford this. Other people, could benefit financially or have financial success, but we essentially were doomed to this pattern and cycle of struggle. And so while I grew up hearing that, because um, giving my mother grace and understanding that that was her real experience, day to day, check to check, month to month. That was her experience. And so she was just repeating what she saw happen in her reality. And so while I was going through that experience, I also was told, because my mom, she saw my ability to save money, which I know now was a reaction, as they call it, money hoarding. I was hoarding money because money was an uncertain thing for me. And so my reaction as a kid was to be a good saver. And so my mom saw that, and she affirmed to me that I was good with money, that I would be the one to go get the good job and, not have to be doomed to the same pattern of struggle. And so I went to school for accounting. I got my bachelor's in accounting. I got my master's in finance because I believed I was good with money. But it wasn't until 2017, I'm 6 years into my financial career as a professional financial analyst, managing business finances, not personal finances. So I'm 6 years into this career with the technical knowledge of financial literacy. And it was an Achilles tendon injury that cost me $5,000 out of pocket that forced me to reflect on my behaviors, my feelings, and my emotions around money, regardless of what my financial situation looked like on paper.
Mm.
And so,
Okay. So when you
yes,
injured your Achilles, just out of curiosity, so this was when you were playing basketball or what sport?
absolutely, sir. It was co-ed rec league basketball. I had went
Oh,
my whole career up until that point with no serious injuries, nothing more than a jammed finger, sprained ankle. So yeah, it's a fast break. I'm coming down after the layup. As soon as I hit the ground, the floor was slanted under me. And
oh
what I
no.
know now, okay, now fun fact, I walked on that Achilles tear for 4 weeks before I went to a doctor.
That doesn't sound like a fun fact. That just sounds like a scary fact. Sounds like a
Just
painful fact.
a painful fact. And, being stubborn and a little not having as much trust in, some of the industries like the medical industry. I thought, I didn't know what it was. I thought I could heal it myself. I had some wraps around it. I was elevating it, but um, that's another story on how the event I was at that made me realize I needed to go to the doctor. But essentially, I had just bought my house the year before. I had got my floors and walls redone because it needed to be done. And so that was $5,000 of surgery that I didn't have savings for because I wasn't saving for an emergency fund. That I was going to add on top of a $7,000 line of credit that I had got the year before to get my house refreshed. And even when I took out um, the line of credit for the house, I had every intention on paying that down within the year. My numbers on paper told me that I could have paid that down no problem over the next 12 months. But, the weekends come, friends call. So I'm spending my money however I want to because I earned it and I deserved it, which is true. But at the same time, I wasn't considering my future financial goals and desires at the same time that I was prioritizing my immediate goals and desires. And so that situation is what had me ask the question, what are the wealthy 1%? What are those people doing that the rest of the 99% is missing? And I've highlighted this before with you. It's the business and tax strategy, because taxes are number one expense for Americans. Number two, it's life insurance, realizing it's more than just death benefit. There's the living benefit. And now those two things, there's plenty of experts that talk about it, but it was the third thing that the wealthy people do and use and benefit from that I didn't see a whole lot about. And that was the mindset. Like, what is this mindset? Why am I behaving this way, even though I consciously decided to behave another way? My actions and habits weren't lining up with my conscious goals and desires. And so that's what led me into developing the quantum wealth theory.
Hmm. Okay. Well, Asia, I'll tell you, I'll tell you guys how I came to know Asia's work. I was at a conference in Chicago. Who was the host of that conference, Asia? Do you remember the name of the sister who ran?
JJ Conway.
JJ Conway. Yeah, I want to make sure I give her credit for that because she did a great job. And I saw Asia present, and I was like, this is really interesting. I want to go and talk to this person and find out more about what she's doing because this is really interesting. And she was as nice as could be. Asia's a very just decent human being, and I said, okay, let's follow up because I really feel. And tell me what you think. I my biggest concern is starting with our people, like our people first. Everyone else matters too, but I really see a lot of signs with that our mindset can be adjusted in so many ways. Even when I was talking to, I'm gonna give an honest reflection real quick, and I hope everybody can let me be honest and not have it be seen in any way other than it's intended. But I was talking to my wife today about somebody that we worked with who happened to look like us, and the person made promises about things they were going to do and overcommitted and didn't follow through and didn't do what they were what we needed them to do, and then that led us to just reflect in general on other areas for improvement, right? Not to say that all of us fall in this category because a lot of us are professional and solid and on top of everything. I said, but there are some pockets of culture that have to be addressed. I
Mm,
mean, just confronted in terms of just this idea of mindset and also even little things like what professionalism and work ethic looks like, what it means to stick to commitments. For example, if you're going and you're telling the whole black community for 10 years that you're going to build a school and then you never build it and no one ever really everyone's afraid to say anything about it. I'm not going to say any names, but y'all probably might know who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about. Or when you see a lot of hip hop artists that they do a lot of talking about what they're gonna do, but they don't follow through. Most of them, or when it's time to go. My mother-in-law lives in one of the blackest cities in America, Gary, Indiana, and she's just heartbroken that when she's hired black male, give me yes or no. Let me know if you've seen this. She's heartbroken over the fact that she's tried to hire black men to come and fix things in her house. And one brother, she's my mother-in-law. I love this lady. So I said, okay, let's get this done. Let's find somebody. She said, yeah, I found somebody who's gonna cut down the tree. Here's how much it costs. I said, okay, let's send them the money. Let's get it done. And the guy called and said, I'll be there at 12 o'clock. And he never showed up. Just never showed up. Didn't call to say I'm gonna be late. Didn't call to say sorry, I something went wrong. Just did not show up. And I said, what is happening here? What is this? And and so I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna say this politely, and just so that it doesn't come off, in any way other than it's intended. Is I think there's so many areas where we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to really talk to each other about culture.
mm.
It's like it's a damn shame, for example, when it's time to get certain work done in the house. You can call in a group of Mexican people. You can call in a group of Irish, a whole Irish family will come and fix the roof and whatever, there's something there, in terms of just these basic ideas of following through on commitments that some of our people haven't learned when it comes to work, like what that really looks like. Like, don't, like I talk to the kids all the time. I say, look, don't ever tell me you're gonna do something and don't do it. That makes you look pathetic. But there's so many people who just don't have that accountability about them and will say, yeah, I'll be at work on Tuesday at 8 o'clock and won't even show up. And again, not to say that other people don't do this. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that we know what y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know our people, not all of our people. I'm not talking about all of our people, but y'all know, y'all have seen it. So really mindset, Asia, to me means really us understanding what it means to be a solid
Mm,
economic citizen in our community, what it means to be economically solid for ourselves, keeping our commitments to ourselves for our future, overcoming whatever programming we have that
mm.
forms habits that are not beneficial. So can we start? Maybe we can start there. I know you got notes, and I didn't even know if you brought slides. I just so y'all know, I just invited Asia. I had no idea what she was bringing, or if so, it's okay for you to just talk, or if you got something you want to share on the screen, you can do that too. What would you say in response to some of the things that I've just said?
Wow. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna just speak to that response, and I do have a few visual slides that I would like to reference, because I knew I wanted to come and give really the meat of what the quantum wealth theory is, and something that people can take away. If you listen today and you didn't do anything else, at least your paradigm would be shifted. You would have a new way to look at money just by understanding some of these facts about how our brain and heart operate that drive us to behave in certain ways. But to respond to what you just said, man, I like the way you described it as pockets of culture. And because I feel like that's the best way to identify and then address what needs to happen to, address those pockets of culture. But the visual that came to mind as you were talking about the challenges that we as a people have is the rubber band analogy. It's like the further you pull back the rubber band, the more tension you give it, the further it goes. And so we talk about our people realizing that we've had hundreds of years of this programming that, is not productive for us. We'll just call it that. And even further hinders our ability to follow through with our decided goals, with our beliefs, our desires. And so when you say the mindset, I thought about it in two ways. Because at first you were describing like the mindset of what's needed to understand our community, to be able to give back to the greater good, to be able to be an upstanding citizen, to contribute economically to the market at whole and your immediate circle. But then I started to think about the mindset first to even get yourself together first, to look in the mirror and say, before I can help the community and be an upstanding citizen for others, let me be an upstanding citizen for myself and follow through with the plans I made to myself. Like, how many times have I decided to go to the gym or to do something and then I let myself down? And so I
Mhm.
feel like the programming that we're talking about, it reminded me of the miseducation of the Negro, how he walked through some of the historical reasons that led to us being programmed in this way to where, we weren't always promised to live to tomorrow or to next month. And so we didn't always have the luxury of planning that far ahead. And so when I think about how that relates to us today, if I earn my paycheck, I worked hard for it, I deserve it. I deserve to, have a little fun on the weekends. These are all true. But because we didn't have that luxury always to look so far into the future, it's hard for us to think in the future and prioritize those future needs and wants. And
Mm.
so, you know, when I pull up the slides, we'll get into it because I brought up three topics that I want to speak to. Like I said, that if you just hear today, understand what we're saying, then you can go forward and apply it in your day to day thoughts, decisions, and how you just look at every interaction in your life. Because one of the concepts I learned from this company called Financial DNA, they study a bunch of behavioral insights to understand your money DNA, is that money is an omnipresence. He calls it money energy, and which means that influences pretty much every aspect of your life. It influences what you eat, where you work, where you live, how you spend your time. And so if money has this omnipresence over every decision of your life, being able to take the stress off of sometimes dealing with these matters can allow you to have more freedom and flexibility in your day-to-day life, if nothing else, just mentally and emotionally first. Once you get that together on the inside, how you feel and think about it, then it'll change how those actions interpret into your real life.
Mm. Okay, well, what I'm gonna do, everybody, is I'm gonna Asia, just so you know, I'm giving you sharing permissions where you can share your material, and I want everybody to know also, just quick housekeeping, that the that today's the last day of our 30 days of financial consciousness training that we've done. If you want to get access to the recordings of these trainings and either go through it again yourself or have them for life or share them with a family member, all you have to do is go to drboyceelevate.com. That's drboyceelevate.com. We cut the price by about 60% for you guys. So feel free to go there, drboyceelevate.com. And also, you guys know that tomorrow we're going to start another 30-day training, but this may take longer than 30 days. I've never done it before. We're going to actually break through my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. Now, with that particular training, you can get free access to the live sessions by simply getting the study guide. And let me give you guys the study guide. This is the required reading for the class. Can we buy the next ebook study guide and participate? Yes. Here is the link to the study guide. I put that right there in the chat. Make sure you grab that, and that can give you access to the study guide. If you guys want access to those recordings, I'll get a link for you at some point where you can have access to that as well. And then you can also everything we do with that is pretty much buy one get five free. So that means if you want to bring your family members or whatever, just one membership is enough, and that gives access to the live sessions. But if you want not just the recordings but also a bunch of other bonus material that we have, then there's another link we can share with you if you're on our email list. So make sure you look out for that email, look out for that text by texting the word stock to 87948. Okay. All right. And if you order your study guide today, it'll probably take maybe 5 days for it to get there. And so until then, you can just come to class and I'll put the slides on the screen as well. Okay, Asia.